We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2 between the PG Barracx and 496 Vikings in the SEA qualifiers for ESL 1 Katowice. Game number 1 was a very quick Medusa game, Measles.
Yep, that was one of those Medusa ones.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, we'll see whether there'll be any consequences because of that. So far, it hasn't been banned out, but you were mentioning earlier that might just be happening in the second phase instead. For now, we see some familiar faces though, Shadow Shaman as well as Clockwork.
Yeah, Dim seems to be very popular in SEA at least. I know Shadow Shaman is in every other region too. Clockwork, and I'm not sure, it's probably quite popular as well, but PG Barracx go with the A again here, and Tusker is a hero that I think is really popular nowadays.
Yeah, certainly in China. They keep picking that one up there. Pretty decent combos. I mean, sometimes even we see that picked up together with the Ancient Apparition, of course, now on different teams as well.
Remaining.
And not the worst with the Shadow Shaman either. There's just a good amount of control factor coming out. If you hit their eye shots properly, you have some very interesting plays that you can make with that. And if you catch Ancient Apparition, well, it makes for some easy kills. Clockwork, maybe not so much because he's so tanky. But yeah, it's one of the better 4-position roamers in the right hands.
Yeah, I think so too, and especially in, I mean, I'm from Europe, so I can only speak from my own region, but I've seen so much of Tusker recently, and I really feel like the hero has definitely come back. It's gonna be interesting to see here if they decide to ban out Medusa, or they could just also feel that if they pick Medusa, we have a plan to deal with it.
Yep.
But I feel like he was such a strong factor last game, so maybe they will ban it out now. We'll see.
Well, we'll certainly go dipping into reserve time, perhaps debating that very question. At the same time, there's also plenty of other things that the Vikings might pull out of the bag.
Yeah, it's not like they're a Medusa only team.
Team ban.
But they go with the Tidehunter ban instead.
Yeah. For the Vikings, they played a lot around the Faceless Void as well. So some combos with that, and you already have the Shadow Shaman Tusk, maybe not ideal. But something worth keeping in mind, and actually ban it out themselves. Because again, Ancient Apparition is a pretty decent hero, to say the least, together with that in its own right.
Yeah, for sure. And we want to see what PG Barracx wants to do. Once again, I would imagine that they... Although there's a lot of teams that go like they pick a core hero now here, like we've seen Gyro or Viper and these heroes. However, both of those heroes are banned here, so we'll see if they go more with the more conventional, just pick a offlaner position 4 here. Good Venge.
Or maybe not, yeah.
So this is another Vengeful AA, Clockwork, or another position 4. That's another really strong Trilin. Venge AA obviously works very well together.
Yeah.
And they can get a third sun or just have Clockwork as well.
Yeah. Again, just having that set up for the cold feed. Ever since that buff, it went up from 1.25 seconds to like 2 seconds stun duration. It just turned into an ability that's actually extremely strong if you have any sort of setup for it. Because 2 seconds in the early game is quite a bit, especially if you also have the damage to follow up due to the Chilling Touch. Yeah,
the Chilling Touch and the Cold Feet is what really makes this hero such a lane dominator.
Yeah.
So I want to see what the Vikings want to do here. Now that they see that it's a Venge and it's a core, they can either decide like, okay, do we want to pick a hero to potentially fight them? Or do we just kind of want to go a greedy route and maybe take a hero that won't necessarily win the lane, but due to them having a Venge here, we can abuse this pick later.
Yep.
However, that is kind of scary. For example, they could go something like an AM, but that would just suffer too hard in the lane, I would think.
Yep.
Although it would do very well with the right amount of farm.
Yeah, I mean, you can maybe try and dodge and play musical lanes a little bit, but it's never really hard. It can be sometimes hard to really do. Successfully. It just really depends on a lot of these separate landing configurations and how much the other team is willing to match you step by step.
I think they're gonna pick SF here, but I just want to point it out.
Okay, let's get it in here before they actually do it. It would make a lot of sense, right? Because with the Vengeful Spirit as a core, you want to have you meant that stuff for Barracx, right?
Yes,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the reason why I think SF is one of the heroes that actually do fairly well. I guess with the new SF, you're more magic damage oriented. However, you can still build him right click because it's a good hero against Doom, as well as it fits very well with the Vengeful, and you have the cogs.
Yeah.
However, yeah, new SF is a little bit more
Dire
magic damage
team
oriented. Oh, feels bad, man.
Oh. Well, SF could still come out if, as a last pick here.
Yeah, for sure. Abaddon, I guess Doom is good against Abaddon, but Abaddon is good against whoever if Doom
10 seconds
dooms
remaining.
anyone else except for him. So kind of makes
It's-
sense here. It's a
5
little bit out of the
seconds
box
remaining.
pick, I have to say, but their fireman does look very scary right now with a potential last pick of. I think SF makes a lot of sense with this Abaddon pick still. There's
Yeah.
other heroes too that.
It kind of makes for a lineup that's very fast, right? With Vengeful Spirit, and at the same time they can still scale. Because Abaddon turns into a bit of a right clicker
Yeah.
in later parts of the game, and he also sometimes builds Radiance that also has a decent amount of right click damage attached to it, and these kind of things that also make him not be ignorable in fights, because that's normally what you want to do, right? Because you can't instantly burst him down most of the time unless you have like silence and break to disable the passive activation of that. So yeah, you just want to ignore him in a fight and then kill everyone else first, and then get to him later. But if he has things like Radiance and
team
just
back.
striking away, then he's still gonna do a whole lot of damage in the middle of that, especially with the Vengeful Spirit also hanging around, buffing that up even more.
Yeah.
So it's a very scary lineup here that Barracx is building together. And 496, they have to play quite well because you have the Shadow Shaman, you have the Tusk, those are
10
heroes that want to do
seconds
things,
remaining.
Doom as well even. And the Juggernaut, right? They don't want to sit
5
around on their
seconds
asses
remaining.
and try and farm and split push.
I mean,
They're gonna have to fight into them eventually.
I like the
Dire
Jagger
team
pick because
back.
it's a little bit of both. They have potential to fight their scary aggressive Trillian now, but it's also here that scales well. The one thing with the Jagger pick is that usually when you pick Jagger, you want him to have a very free split pushing game. However, this is not a free split because they have both
10
Clockwork and
seconds
Vengeful that can
remaining.
cancel his spin
Yeah.
TP. And with free split pushing game, I
5
mean, you can
seconds
spin TP
remaining.
out of like anything, so you can just split push like crazy.
Yep.
Or they have 2 counters for him now, so that is something he has to keep in mind as this game progresses. He can't just do whatever he wants. He needs to respect the lineup of PG Barracx.
Yep.
But their Trilane can definitely fight PG Barracx lineup, so Trilane.
Might just
Dire
end up being
team
game of
pick.
vision. Just making sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, like especially like in the mid game. Your task, you kinda start to fall off a little bit. The snowball initiation is not really as good because if you see it coming, you have plenty of time to see
10
to set up a
seconds
defense in the
remaining.
mid game because you're more likely to be close to each other anyway.
5 seconds remaining.
Whereas in the laning stage, obviously everyone's in their own lane, and you have to rely on TPs to help each other out.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Vikings picks here. I think OD could be okay. You go off 4-staff early, and OD is good against Abaddon.
Radiant team pick.
Brewmaster. This is gonna be a Brewmaster mid, and I can't say I've seen that too much, but Brewmaster is a strong pick in the current meta. He has been nerfed though in the last patch, but that affected offlane the most, I think.
10 seconds remaining.
Wonder if they want to send somebody else mid and
5
just have
seconds
the
remaining.
Brewmaster Abaddon pickup, Abaddon matchup.
Could do that.
Uh,
They go with OD
Choose your
themselves.
hero.
with the OD though, yeah, you have to run Brewmaster mid, right? Everyone else has a really hard time, I feel like.
I definitely think it's gonna be Brewmaster mid. I
Yeah.
mean, they could go Juggernaut mid and then go like a Brewmaster Trilane, but that sounds strange.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would say alright maybe if Pullman's Shield was still in the game to help out the Juggernaut.
yeah, but yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely gonna be Brewmaster mid, and you just Drunken Haze up the OD. Although I can't say I like this OD pick a whole lot. I feel, yeah, you have this Venge and you have this Abaddon that can kind of help you in dire situations, but if you get doomed, you can't do a lot, and Brewmaster Drunken Haze is very good against him, and you have a lot of stuff to like worry about. This Tusker can put you in ice shards, and yeah, you have a 4-staff, sure, but maybe you use it already. I know OD, he wants some space between him. He just wants to be able to
Prepare for battle.
like stack up his int and then shoot off a great ultimate. And I feel Vikings have a lineup that can get on top of his face and kind of stress him out, not let him do his thing, as well as of course the Doom.
Yeah. Like you can either Doom him or you can just send him up in the air with a Brewmaster, or you can try and isolate him with the Tusk, like, or get on top of him even, just to prevent him from 3D right-clicking away. So yeah, there's some ways for the Vikings to play around it. But the thing is, they have a draft that requires them to actually do that. I feel like.
Yeah,
that is in that sense, I do like Barracx' lineup a little bit better, because it's much easier for them to just get going on hero with a like eventual spirit core. But of course, feeding first blood right here, maybe not.
He snowballed instantly without taking Shadow Shaman into the snowball, so that was definitely a slip up by them. Because he could have just waited another half a second, and they would definitely the snowball would definitely reach Venge still, and they would have Shadow Shaman in, and it would be a kill for sure. But you know, it happens.
He's getting away with his life just barely here as a result. Has someone through some tangles at the very least. Right now he's all alone in this lane. Like Clockwork and AA, bit of a roaming ganking combo here if you get that away. If you can get away with it, but Venge is gonna need some help eventually down there.
I just want to make sure that OD gets very favored block here.
Yeah.
This is always what one of your supports should do if they can. Just make sure to block the mid laner's lane, so he can take the bounty.
Yeah. They're already on the way back down, so it's all standard so far here. On the Radiant side, and still as well on the other side of the map here, Abaddon doing the creep pulling things, but look at this. Another big snowball up to the high ground, and 458, he actually dragged his own creep, the other creep wave around.
It's actually very well played by Vikings too. I have not seen anyone go and meet the Radiant creep wave and then run down with it like this, so you actually intercept.
Yeah.
Because usually if you wait on the creep wave like next to your tower, you're gonna be too late to intercept them like he did now. Yeah. But I guess he anticipated this and just that's actually a counter to it that I haven't seen.
Yeah. Well, I was playing with Panda the other day, and I believe she did something like that, and the creeps ended up meeting just outside the hard camp on the Radiant side. This was very awkward. So it doesn't always work out the way you want to. It stands right here. Like creeper is pushing in. 458 has full control of the equilibrium here with this many creeps to work with.
Yeah.
Might even be too many at some point. And meanwhile, the supports are just keeping the Vikings away as much as they can. Oh, yeah. Keeping Barracx away, I guess I should say.
Oh, yeah. And
bottom tower
no, God. Yeah, Barracx, Rams starting off.
Just a stun combination.
Oh, God. Playing at the same time.
Here comes the kills.
Like, need to get my head in the game a little bit quicker here next time if possible. But yeah, it's a bit of an exchange across the map.
They managed to get the Shadow Shaman, but Clock died as well, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So they basically just traded off kills. So you can see in the mid lane here, OD is actually doing quite well. Despite being drunken haste over and over again. But I guess he can just
call with the cogs. Can snowball out though. Or can delay things quite a bit. The Shackle's coming through. Abaddon with the shield immediately exploding. That's a lot of extra burst damage here to help along with the kill. So they still finally get the task. No counterplay this time.
Barracx is pressuring them, or the Barracx are pressuring Vikings well here on their own safe lane, despite being 2 versus 3.
Yep.
And that's kind of what Clockwork can do. He can just zone someone out with the cogs and just kind of make it 2 versus 1 even to some extent, because it's
certainly worked out there. And even if he just runs into the Shadow Shaman with the Barrier Soul, that might just very well be solo kill. So Magic has to be very, very careful here indeed. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kara trying to do what he can. He's still getting a lot of levels, actually.
He has a Frost Armor creep now, so think he's gonna be quite alright in this lane now. He shouldn't really die.
Yeah. He's soaking a lot of experience. Even getting some help here. Nice shot block onto the Ancient Apparition.
It should be a dead A.
2 points up in Infernal Blade, starting to tick away. A couple of extra right clicks. The stun coming through, allowing Lesser Blue to get a couple of extra units away, but ultimately not enough Kira with a long range right click by the looks of it. On the other side, looks like Barracx is setting up for a similar kill, and there it is. That's what we're talking about. Cox with the Battery Assault level 2, just throwing him down. Nothing a Shadow Shaman can do about it.
Yeah, this is like Shadow Shaman. If you're in a lane where you're stronger, the hero is so strong. But you're very susceptible to getting killed because he's very slow and he's very weak. Like he doesn't have a big HP pool, he doesn't have any specific armor or anything. So when he gets put in a rough position like that, it's hard to get away.
Yep.
Whereas something like a Jakiro or Bane, they're kind of beefy heroes.
Well, Snowball coming through again. Ancient Apparition, bit of trouble again. Infernal Blade. No Scorcher if anything, but they do block off that path. Not fast enough to get the swords in, or swords and axes. All these tools that they have in their hands. So Doom, even though he died again, just still taken over, and again getting a lot of levels. No level 6 can really turn into kills elsewhere on the map, especially in important targets that you kind of want to bring down if you can, like the OD in mid.
Yeah. Something interesting here is that I guess we're having
Shaga might actually be in trouble. Healing Ward is there, they keep it alive as long as they can. Now the Shackles and
nice
the
micro.
Abaddon. Snowball across here as well for more lockdown. They finally get the ward, but at what cost?
a really good micro.
Get both of these kills as results, so extremely well played indeed.
That was just them kind of getting blindsided by a ward and feeling they had to get it.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say is that this Brumas, he has went 3 points in passive. He went 1-1-3, which is a build I have not seen before. Although I assume he does it for the mischance.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to get forward by OD.
Bottom again. No, this time Kara. Absolutely fine. Only want to point out in Scorched Earth, it's not as crazy as it used to be. Like it used to be that Dooms just maxed that out, but that was before Infernal Blade was actually turned so good. Now Might actually in trouble. Yeah, Clock was there as well, extra bit of damage. Cold Feet will proc in the end as well. The Ice Armor, no. This time actually catch that kill happening live. So.
And it looks like they're gonna go on the OD mid here.
Yeah, Snowball coming through. There's level 6 available on Brewmaster.
That's a really big stick on OD.
Straight away now. They don't have enough damage actually. It's thrown to stun, but now they actually have to leave, which is a bit of an issue.
Those cogs were perfect, actually.
Radiant's top
Another
tower
rock
is
flying,
under
but yeah,
attack.
that's a Brewmaster ultimate that doesn't actually lead into anything.
The cogs managed to like trap 1 or 2 Brewlings, while OD was on the outside of it, and it blocked off the both support duo 496 Viking. So it might have been dead if.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
What? Oh, he's not level
Radiant
6 yet, not by a long
structures
shot.
are
Alright, that
fortified.
explains it. Straight up walking up with the Omni Slash, just a classic Juggernaut kill. Meanwhile, down bottom again. Cold Feet will proc, this time on a task. Yeah, Rocket's Battery Soul, whatever you want to call it. Helping to finish the kill. Meanwhile, Doom at least gets a trade on the Ancient Apparition, but can he get out himself? His ultimate was used, another Infernal Blade, but a stun coming through from Rams. He's just taking a fight here with the Cox auto blocking him in.
That's a big stick.
Going to die, isn't he? The shots coming through, his task is back in the fray here, helping out Kara quite a bit, who's still alive. Rams needs another stun, does throw it out and gets the kill with it, but will have to throw his own life away. Just take a little bit longer than they thought, and now Clockwork trying to catch Yao Shi one more time. This is SEA Dota at its finest. Just scrappy team fights, scrappy skirmishes all the time.
Yeah, all over the place. But despite this Abaddon and Clockwork getting a bunch of kills on like Shadow Shaman and stuff, this Abaddon is still having like the roughest game ever. And as we could see, Juggernaut has really abused that. He got a solo kill on him, and now they even get the tower. So now Jagger is free to either choose to just passively farm, but what I assume he would do is he's gonna shortly rotate down to the bottom lane and start pressuring that tier 1.
It's the play that we often see of active carries like that.
Yeah, Juggernaut is like one of the best examples of the best hero at it, maybe even.
Yeah.
Just does it so well. And he has the healing ward to like amplify their push and all this stuff.
Yeah. Just for the sustain, right? I mean, there's other heroes like Luna, Gyrocopter that also have a lot of threat potential by roaming around early because you have a lot of levels at that point in comparison, so you can try and make use of that.
Doom bottom here.
Doom bottom at the same time, RP. This time they have the shackles on top of the Brewmaster ultimate, so they're gonna get that kill. While Doom is dying down here to the combo that we've seen before.
And instead of going bottom, they're actually gonna go for mid tower, which is even better. Naturally. We talked about it. Tier 1 is mid is definitely the most important tower on the map.
Yeah. No Shaman wards available just yet, so I'll have to rely on the creep as well as the healing ward. That should be more than enough. And Barracx right now, they're not actually too good at pushing. 2 points up in the Vengeance aura right now for the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, Barracx is once again falling in this spot where they're not really keeping up in towers and they're losing map control. Last game they couldn't get the tier 1 middle, and it kind of was their greatest enemy because they just kept running at it and they kept dying. We can see if they can turn the tides in this game and maybe do a better job.
Magical and Red here grouping up and sitting on the high ground smoked, hoping that somebody would come in from the low ground, but Clockwork catching them. They still find the snowball on top of Ramsey. They need a little bit of extra follow-up with the shackles, with the Doom they'll have it. Shackles will be cancelled, and it's actually still kind of tanky. A couple of extra spells being thrown up on Magical before he dies, but they've already lost the task too. They got what they came for. They have to pay very dearly for it.
Right now it's 2-2, it's not too bad right now.
Oh yeah, there's more people coming in. Brewmaster still alive and trying to make his way out of here. OD also making rotation. And this should be the end of Red. It is.
I mean, yeah, they traded 2 for 3. They did get the Venge though, and meanwhile the Juggernaut is just doing his own thing. So I actually think Vikings are completely fine with what just happened.
Yep. Also going for the Battle Fury builds, so...
And
they have it completed already, or...?
As we can see on the net worth tab, he's going Medusa on them.
Oh yeah. Seen that dance before. Could be a bit of an issue. Another team fight brewing down in the bottom lane. Kira and Ultimate available, trying to go for some body blocks here into Abaddon. Ultimate already used, so just gonna wait it out. Shackles, yeah, it's... no support whatsoever. Easy to kill, but it was a bit of big commitment, but yeah, that's the movement that you were talking about earlier, 458.
They're just gonna transition this in an Eastern Tower.
Yeah.
They might even save, it doesn't look like he's gonna save the wards, but they might save Rasta wards for tier 2. Looks like they will.
Yeah.
Radiant structures are fortified.
No catapult in sight, so takes a little bit long perhaps. At the same time, the tier 1 tops also being pressured by the Venge as well as the AA.
Yeah.
There will be a one-phone trade more than likely.
Yeah, because I really like that Vikings do this because they will easily push the tier 2 faster than Barracx will, because they save the wards. And maybe they'll lose a little bit of their own tier 2 damage, but they definitely won't lose all of it. And they've split here, so they're easily gonna take this fight.
Oh yeah, also looking for Ancient Apparition. Abaddon also in the middle of that. Clockwork looking for a hookshot perhaps. You're just walking in, Promise Pool forced out now. And that is. Just lift up the Abaddon. Gareth's gonna yell at me if he is this. But a Doom coming through on the OD. They quickly finish up the Clockwork. A bit of a defensive swap here, getting closer to that shrine. They caught with the ice shots. Still just running them down. The Omni Slash into the spin. They will still finish up the OD sooner rather than later. Rams and also Abaddon coming back into the fight now, but they just don't have the damage. They don't have the power. Ice Blast, alright, that's nicely done here. Bringing it down at least a task and also grazing a few other heroes, but that was full team wipe.